It's the series that you've been waiting for. Spurs Thunder Western Conference Finals. Game 1 is tonight. Let's preview it. Welcome back to another episode of Spurs in Focus right here on YouTube, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Amazon Podcast. The list goes on and on. Don't forget about the Substack, Spurs in Focus Substack, completely free. Go sign up right now. By the way, thank you for making Spurs in Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Don't go anywhere else. Stay right here at Spurs in Focus for all things San Antonio Spurs. And yes, my name is Jeff Garcia, longtime Spurs writer in San Antonio. What are we talking about today? Obviously, hello, duh. It's the Western Conference Finals, Game 1, your silver and black versus the Thunder. We're going to be previewing the game tonight. What are the keys to the game? What are some strengths on both sides of the court, for the Thunder and the Spurs? So we're going to get into all of it, including predictions, things to watch out for when it comes to the Thunder side. Yeah, they're playing some pretty good ball right now. I'm not saying the Spurs aren't, but we're going to get into all that and more. Let's go to bring in our guest. He is back, everybody, Mr. Rudy Campos of The Sports Answer. He is on X at The Sports Answer. And if there is an answer that you need to answered, I got to play with this, Rudy. You want to go to The Sports Answer. How's that, Rudy?
That sounds good. If you need the answer to getting, we're going to work on it.
If you need an answer to a sports, wait.
Sports
What's
question.
the answer to your sports answered questions? You go to Sports Answer. I'm pretty sure Maya would think of something for that for you guys.
Yeah.
Rudy, can you believe it, man? It's Western Conference Finals, Game 1 tonight in Oklahoma City. Yeah, the Spurs are starting this on the road. They don't have home court advantage. Mm-hmm. Oh man, what a time to be a Spurs fan, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. It's a great time to be a Spurs fan. Back into the Western Conference Finals, and they've been battle tested the first two rounds. I mean, Portland gave them a pretty good 5-game series there for a while. I mean, or at least in the first half of a couple of those games. Yeah. And then Minnesota kind of gave them everything that they could handle for a while there until the Spurs blew it out in the last couple of quarters. So, I mean, it's a great time to be a Spurs fan. And now is where I think Spurs fans are starting to realize, okay, this is when this playoff starts, is against OKC, the team that they've had success in the regular season against. But again, regular season and playoffs, two different seasons, man.
Absolutely. All right, let's start into it right now. Let's look at the Oklahoma City side of things. They are undefeated in the postseason, 4-0 versus the Suns, 4-0 versus the Lakers. And I truly believe for the Thunder, this series is their first true test. Phoenix, they had no business in the playoffs. Lakers, they were down Luka, aged LeBron, nobody really stood up, really stepped up for the Lakers. Austin Reeves came back, but again, didn't really do much of an impact.
Yeah.
Dare I say, Rudy, it's the Spurs that have been tested and are battle ready more so than the Thunder?
Absolutely, man. I mean, the Thunder have kind of just had a cakewalk through the first two rounds of the playoffs. No problems with Phoenix, and they didn't really have any problems with the Lakers, but there was, I think, Game 4.
Game 4.
The Lakers did kind of give them a little scare there. And not only that, I think it was Game 3 as well. They kind of played them really tough as well. So, again, the two sweeps is not going to happen against San Antonio. San Antonio comes in scarred, battled, bruised, and I think they're ready for OKC. But, not only that, I mean, there's a lot of motivation behind one 7'4" guy, especially after the news that came out yesterday. We may see a version of Hakeem Olajuwon versus David Robinson.
Yeah.
When Olajuwon was a little upset when he didn't get the MVP award. So yeah, OKC has not been battle tested. This is going to be the first true test.
Hey, Thunder, please present the NBA MVP trophy pregame. Please, I beg you. Make sure the Spurs are out there and number 1 in silver black is out there. Because talk about motivation. I think that'll motivate Victor so much. By the way, how does SGA win that? He did not lead any statistical category. I don't believe. He wasn't tops in scoring. He wasn't tops in rebound. He wasn't tops in points per game. Nothing.
No, he didn't. He did not lead in any statistical category, and that is something that I will say. I mean, it's a farce, man. I'm going to be real. It's a farce. SGA did not deserve the MVP award. It was either between Nikola or Victor, to be honest with you. But because the Thunder had the best record in the league and yada 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 yada, they're going to give it to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And this is the first time in a long time that I've actually looked at the MVP award and just shook my head and said, I don't agree with any of it, period, at all.
Absolutely. Well, even though the Thunder are the enemy, we got to give them, at least statistically, their due. And statistically in the playoffs, they're a beast. And again, you kind of wonder if you take that with a grain of salt because of their, well, I guess, not such strong competition, again, Lakers and the Suns. But, if they say numbers don't lie, well, let's see. This is what worries me the most about the Thunder. Say what you will about their offense, but take a look at this. This is their defense, Rudy. During the NBA regular season, look at that. First in the NBA in opponent field goal percentage. First in the NBA in deflections per game at nearly 21 per game. First in points off turnovers, 22, and second in the NBA in steals per game. This worries me. These are the intangibles that will win games right here. Can you score off turnovers? Well, obviously they can. Deflections, those effort kind of things that go on during a game. Rudy, what do you think about this? Do you think this is where the Thunder could give the Spurs problems?
Potentially. I'm going to say potentially. And the reason being because the Thunder are one of the better defensive teams in the league. They're going up against probably the second or third best defensive team in the league in the San Antonio Spurs. I wouldn't so much. I'm going to say that I think it's going to be a really good defensive series. I don't think we're going to see, unless it's a total blowout in the 130s. I mean, I think we'll see in the 1-0, maybe the 1-teens for these games that are coming up between San Antonio and OKC. What worries me the most, Jeff, is not so much OKC's defense. It's OKC's firepower. And one player by the name of AJ Mitchell, who has just been lighting up the scoreboard for OKC lately.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one guy that I think could really give the Spurs a lot of trouble. So defensively, OKC is going to probably be, maybe a little bit better than San Antonio. And I'm reluctantly saying that. But this is where the Spurs guards, we talk so high of them and praise them so much. This is where they earn their paycheck against OKC because our guards have to be better than their guards. And guess what? OKC has more guards to play than San Antonio does.
Yeah, it's actually AJ Mitchell is the second leading scorer for the Thunder in the postseason at 18.8 points per game, shooting 57% and 1.6 fast break points. Shea SGA is SGA. We all know that 29 points per game in the postseason with a true shooting percentage of 63%. So there it is. I'm glad you mentioned the guard situation because Jalen Williams is back. The Thunder did announce that he will return. How convenient versus the Spurs in Game 1. So they will be fully loaded, which breaks the question. This Spurs team hasn't really faced 100% complete Thunder team in the regular season. Yes, they were 4-1 versus OKC. We all know that. Personally, Rudy, I think you throw out the regular season. You just throw it out because this is like starting from scratch. Sure, yes, it helps the Spurs have some confidence, but you kind of nearly need to forget about it. And so we'll see what happens tonight. But I'm glad you mentioned the guards though, because that's where I think the Spurs' greatest strength is. Yes, I know Wemby's there, and yes, he's a problem. But the Thunder do have Chet for what it is, and of course Hartenstein, Lou Dort, and other bigs there. But I want to talk about the Spurs guards here. So in particularly the Slash brothers, and I think this is the Spurs' biggest strength versus the Thunder. Just look what they've been doing this season. Steph Castle, youngest Spurs, on your screen out, ever scored 30-plus points in a playoff game. What about Harper? 25 and 10 rebounds off the bench. First rookie to do that in the postseason since 1987 for the Spurs. Castle, he joins Derek White. You see it on your screen as the only sophomore to score, since 2000, to score 30-plus points in a playoff game. So he joins Derek White. And finally, Harper, second youngest player to score 20-plus points off the bench in a playoff game in 40 years. The last person to do that was Kobe Bryant. So I think the Slash brothers, I think, are the greatest counter, the greatest punch that the Spurs can offer the Thunder. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's the guard play is going to be the most important play when it comes to San Antonio and OKC. Wemby's going to Wemby.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Wemby's going to Wemby. But what the problem I have with the guards for San Antonio is they are playing at. I mean, they're playing at a level that we didn't see in the regular season,
Mhm.
especially guys like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. The consistency is there. De'Aaron Fox is getting his. He's actually coming alive in that second half, a majority of the playoffs as well. So our guard play is going to be very, very key. But I'm going to go a step further, Jeff, because
Mhm.
you're going to need guys like Carter Bryant. You're
Mhm.
going to need guards, even like Harrison Barnes, are going to have to come in and spell some of these guards because when you look at OKC, not only are you mentioning, Shea, you also have to talk about Lou
Mhm.
Dort because when Dort gets hot from
Yeah.
three-point range, he can stay hot. Guys like AJ Mitchell, as I mentioned, Jared McCain. Don't forget about Alex Caruso. I mean, that's why I said their depth at guard
Mhm.
is a little bit deeper than what San Antonio has. So I think the San Antonio guards they're gonna continue to play very, very well against OKC, but it's a matter of can they keep up scoring wise, which if they can, I really expect San Antonio to win the game.
Mhm.
Every game they play against OKC, if our guards outscore theirs, 99% of the time they're gonna win this game. And forget about the
Yeah.
Wemby and Chet matchup. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the guard play for San Antonio, this is where they're going to earn their money. As I said earlier, this is the key of the series.
Mhm.
Our guards have to be better than theirs.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you. Yeah, the Spurs and look, the Thunder they do have guards. SGA obviously, but there's McCain, one of the newer additions to the team. AJ
Yeah.
Mitchell, so they can nearly counter the Slash brothers plus Fox. Nearly, I don't think so. I think the Spurs still have the best trio of guards in the postseason with the
Mhm.
remaining teams on the field right now. So there's that. So no, I think that's a huge edge for the Spurs here.
Yes.
Other things too. Speed of SGA, by the way, again, he's averaging 29 points per game, 7 assists, and nearly 3 rebounds. But here's the thing, though, it could come down to offense versus defense. The Thunder are first in the postseason with an offensive rating of 128.6, while
Mhm.
the Spurs are first in the postseason with a defensive rating of 103.9. So that goes back to why I put this graphic right there because even though the Thunder are not tops in defense, they've proven they can be a pest defensively, as the numbers see on your screen right now. By the way, what do you buy or sell that probability of the Thunder winning the game 69, nearly 70%? That's the game probability it goes towards the Thunder in game one. You buying that?
Game one, no, I'm not buying
Yeah.
69%. Um, if you're asking me for a prediction before every game, especially game one,
Yeah.
it's 51-49,
Mhm.
50-50,
Yeah, I'm with you too. Yeah.
52-48, and it can go either way. I mean, when I say 49-51, it could be 51 Spurs, 51 OKC. I mean, I think Vegas is probably looking at this game and
Mhm.
being, oh, it's the Thunder. We're gonna make them the odds-on favorite, yada yada. But
Yeah.
it's all gonna be a lot closer than people think. I've
Me too.
I've been back and forth on this series. I've had Spurs in 6, then I had Thunder in 6. Now I've got Spurs in maybe 7.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of looking at it a little bit deeper into it, and I'm thinking tonight I expect San Antonio to win, but are they going to win handily? Are they going to win barely?
Yeah.
Is OKC just that focused where they're tired of Wemby, the Wemby talk and the talk about
Mhm.
Dylan Harper and, Stephon Castle? They want to make a statement. I mean, this series is probably going to be one of the most memorable series that
Oh
we've
yeah.
seen in the NBA in a long time.
All right, let's get the tail of the tape right now. A complete picture what the Spurs and the Thunder have been doing in the postseason. You see it on your screen, everybody. Look how tight it is, man. Look how tight it is.
Mhm.
Points per game. I guess it's somewhat of a slight big edge, if that makes sense to everybody. To the Thunder, 121.3. To
Yeah.
the Spurs, 116.9. But they have to look how close it is. Opponent points per game in the postseason. The Thunder rank 7th, while the Spurs rank 5. Field goal percentage, look how close that is too. Spurs rank 3 with 49%, Thunder second at 51%. Even 3-point field goal percentage, there's no clear-cut advantage.
No,
You know,
they're
it's
tied.
it's 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 nearly it's a flat out tie, 38% right there. But you look at all this stuff again. It goes back to how I started. Like it's the little things that I think they're going to separate who wins and who doesn't. Turnovers. Look at that. Look at that big. That to me, that's huge. There, the Thunder are second in the NBA at a mere 11.9 turnovers per game, while the Spurs are 10th in the postseason and nearly 15. See, things like that really scare me. Things like that scare me. What do you think?
The biggest one for me is the turnover part. That's what I was going to.
Yeah, that's huge. That one stands out for me. Yeah.
OKC is one of the better fast breaking teams, and especially off of a turnover. Now, we did come off of a series where we saw San Antonio hold Minnesota to like 7 fast break points a game, roughly. That's what they're going to have to do. If they're going to commit more turnovers in OKC, they better have defenders back to guard whoever's on that fast break, because OKC likes to get out and run. And the good thing about OKC, what they do is when they get out and run, they have 1 or 2 spot-up shooters from 3. So they can be a very deadly 3-point shooting team, especially if they're open. So you're talking for all the way from Chet to Shea, Lou Dort can get hot, as mentioned. Every player on this team can get hot from beyond the arc. So turnovers are a big concern. I think the last game for San Antonio, we saw 16 turnovers. And that is concerning to me. Guys like Fox and Castle, they're going to have to really take care of the ball against OKC. And I think if the Spurs end up winning the turnover battle, that means that the Oklahoma City didn't have very many fast break opportunities. So I think that benefits San Antonio. Outside of that, I mean, you really can't get a much closer matchup than these two teams right here.
Yeah, it is close. It is close. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it's those little things / categories that I'm looking out for. The turnover battle, points off turnovers, those type of hustle energy plays, I think could be the difference in a win or a loss for the Spurs or the Thunder. Yeah, it is close. You can just see it on your screen right now. It is just super close. And this is the series that everybody's been wanting. Let's look at a little bit more of the individual play now. Do you think Chet and Wemby would be guarding each other, or no? You don't think that'll happen?
Man, that's a good question. Yeah. I'm going to say, they're going to probably end up guarding each other a little bit more than we expect them. I really think OKC may end up going with Hardenstein and Holmgren, I guess, because they've been doing that for a while. They're going to go with that 2-man lineup. I'm curious to see how Mitch plays that. You're probably going to still stick with the 5 guys you stuck with all single season, but I would almost expect Carter Bryant, Keldon Johnson to be off the bench pretty quick if OKC gets out on the break a whole lot more, especially because of Hardenstein and Holmgren. But right now, I think defensively, you're probably going to put Hardenstein on Wemby, but on the other side for the Spurs, I think Wemby guards Chet only because Hardenstein is technically he's not a 3-point threat. So, a guy like Devin Vassell, maybe Julian Champagny, he can guard an Isaiah Hardenstein. As to where Chet is more of a, 2-way player similar to Victor. He can get out of the 3-point range. He can knock down that 3. He can get to the basket. He can play really great around the rim. So I expect both of those guys to match up when OKC has the ball. Defensively, I think you're going to see Hardenstein on Wemby a lot more when the Spurs have the ball.
Right, everybody. The Thunder are on a 12-game home winning streak right now. So there's that.
Comes to an end.
There you go, Rudy. I love that's the spirit I like. By the way, hey, real quick though, before we take our first break here, keep an eye on this because we talked about Chet and Wemby kind of going up against each other. Yeah. I'm loving. I actually think to me the bigger matchup is SGA versus maybe Stephon Castle. Personally, I think the Spurs are going to give SGA different looks, different bodies to throw at him, but I think the primary task will be on Castle. And he has a handful, man, because in 26 regular season games against the Spurs, SGA, 23.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 5.1 assists. So there's that. And then you look at the other side of the coin here, and that being Steph Castle in his career versus the Thunder, was just a lot smaller than SGA's, but nevertheless, he averages 17.6 points per game, 4.5 assists, and 4.1 rebounds in 8 games versus the Thunder. I think also, too, Castle may be the leading scorer against the Thunder this regular season. I think he led the team in all the games, so he definitely gets up for them as well. Look, we're not done talking. We're still going to look at some keys to the game, keys to a win for the Spurs, predictions, other things that might be, on the radar right now. Because it is game day. Western Conference Finals, game 1, your Spurs versus the Thunder out at OKC. Let's continue talking about it coming up next.
Secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grey Skull, I subscribe to Spurs in Focus."
Got Darth Maul coming in, man, showing off that skyhook, man.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? It's probably his best move, right? Because he's going to just use the force to get guided into the basket, probably.
I think any Star Wars character would probably be a really good basketball player with the force behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Rudy can take Chewbacca in the paint. I know that.
Yeah, right. Nowhere near can I do that, man. Nowhere near.
We're talking Western Conference Finals, game 1, your Spurs versus the Thunder tonight in OKC. We got a lot to talk about still. Hey, let me show you my keys to a Spurs win. Get them right here. Let me flash them on your screen for you. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at trying to limit OKC's three-point shooting. They're 4th in the NBA in the playoffs right now at 38.4%. I think once they start cooking from deep, that's going to be a big issue for the Spurs. Also, we control the rebounding. OKC rebounding right now, 41.4, 9th in the NBA playoffs. And the obvious one that we got to talk about now is the foul drawing. We know that OKC is notorious for that. They get blasted left and right from national sports media, locally here, fans. They love to draw fouls, and they'll sell it no matter what. Look at SGA. He draws nearly 7.5 fouls per game in the postseason. And Chet Holmgren is next. He's number 2 in the Thunder at 4.3 fouls drawn during this postseason. I'm going to leave it up here for everybody to keep an eye on and soak in. Rudy, your reaction is the biggest one, number 3, just those fouls drawn and how the refs call that whistle for OKC time and time again.
Yeah, that's the most concerning thing all season long, as we've seen. I mean, you're going to continue to do something until you don't get caught. I mean, that's basically the way the world works sometimes, man. And SGA does foul bait. Jeff Holmgren fouls bait. This whole team, they play physical. And of course, like whenever they get a foul call, just like any other NBA player, Spurs included, they throw their hands up like, I didn't do anything. But when SGA has the ball and he gets fouled or he gets breathed on, the refs are going to call a foul. And that's the thing is, you cannot allow the whistle dictate the outcome of the game. And when I say that is don't lose your cool, man, because if you lose your cool, OKC knows they're getting to you. They're going to continue to do it. If you just play your game similar to the way that you played Minnesota, which, I mean, I don't know if you can agree with me, Jeff. I really pray to God, and I'm lighting the Mexican candles that we have, that we'll get the same style of officiating we did against Minnesota, because they were physical. There was a lot of physicality, and the refs swallowed the whistle for a good amount of plays. So I'm hoping we get the same type of officiating. If we do, man, it's going to be an even closer series. But if we don't, you may see OKC get a blowout game in here because, again, they're going to live at the free throw line. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. I really hope that they ref this series the way Minnesota and San Antonio was.
Yeah, I'm not too optimistic in this category. I think they're still the refs going to call things for the Thunder. I mean, this is history. It's a recent hit. I mean, look at the playoffs, the Lakers series, the regular season against the Suns. The list goes on and on. I just think that's something the Spurs are going to have to just deal with, and I hope they keep their composure and not get frustrated and bark at the refs and push a tech. I've seen no signs from NBA refs to say, like, you know what? Yeah, maybe we need to like chill out. And we got to the point during the Lakers series where Austin Reeves and the crew there, the Lakers had a mid-court conversation with the refs, like trying to ask them, like, why do y'all do this? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So I hope that the Spurs going to have to do it. And I think the only way is, as they say in the MMA world, don't let the refs or the judges decide the game or the fight. In this situation, don't let the refs decide the fight / game. Spurs beat this team as you did during the regular season. Rudy, I showed you my 3 keys to victory. What do you got?
Well, one of the keys for me is going to be, and I got the team stat right here, turnovers, man. I mean,
Yeah, that's huge.
you've got to keep the turnovers low.
Mhm.
I would say if they can get under 8 turnovers a game, keep it under 7, 8 turnovers a game, I really think that they're gonna probably end up beating OKC during those games as well.
Mhm.
So turnover battle, you got to win the turnover battle. There's no doubt about that. OKC likes to get on the fast break. They're getting Jalen Williams back
Mhm.
for this game, so they're going to be a lot better than what they have been against Phoenix and the Lakers since J-Dub was out in those series as well. That's the biggest thing for me right now. Turnover battle. You've got to control the turnover battle. You got to be able to get back on the fast break when you make that turnover. Other key that I've got, number 2, is don't shy away from the moment. And because I say that only because, yes, this is the biggest moment for all of these guys' lives.
Mhm.
Pretty much. Harrison Barnes has been there. Luke Cornett has been there. In fact, Luke Cornett's been out of 4 of the past 5
Yeah.
conference finals. So 2 guys have actually been here, as to where Oklahoma City, everybody was there last year. I mean, and then I think, the previous year they lost to as well.
Mhm.
So OKC's got the experience card. So right now, the Spurs have not shied away from this moment in the playoffs right now. They've looked like veterans of the playoffs. They've looked like a dominant team in the playoffs. They've got to continue. Do not let the bright lights hit you. Continue to play Spurs basketball. Last thing I got, Jeff, is a very important thing. And this is something that I think Spurs fans might enjoy. All the talk about SGA winning MVP, all the talk about how OKC dominated the regular season, all the vomit going on about Oklahoma City Thunder. I got to say this. They beat the Lakers by an average of 16 points a game in that
Mm.
sweep. Spurs, who were battle tested against Minnesota, beat them by an average margin of 27.5 points a game.
There you have it.
So there you see, San Antonio can make a huge run on better teams. You saw, I'm not even going to the regular season, but you've seen the regular season. They were able to blow out OKC a few of these games. So again, when the Spurs are clicking, this is a very hard team to beat. They were one of 2 teams that I said were very deep going into the playoffs and into the regular season. Denver was the other one. San Antonio played a much better Minnesota team than the OKC did against the Lakers. Yet OKC's margin of victory was a lot smaller than what San Antonio's was. That's the plus that I see for San Antonio. They look like they're on a mission. And then you've got Victor saying, I was 3rd in MVP voting.
Oh, yeah.
That is not very good. That's not a good look when it comes to OKC. So I'm going to say that those are my 3 keys to victory in this series. The biggest one is you've already got the momentum going in.
Oh, yeah. You've
got a massive momentum. You've beaten the teams like Minnesota and Portland. You've beaten them out of the gym to the point where they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You've got to keep OKC thinking. Those are my points. Those are my keys.
And even to the point where Ant Edwards calls it a day in a series. 8 minutes left in the game in game 6. So that's how much the Spurs handled them. You know, even though I did not have it on my keys to victory, I have to throw this in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna need bench production. You're gonna have to have the Spurs bench show up. I'm looking at you, Cornett, Keldon, Harper. The list goes on and on. Those guys are gonna have to step up. Now, why do I bring that up? Because OKC, they're just as deep as the Spurs.
Yeah.
I'm going to need the Spurs reserves to be consistent on both ends of the court. Bench scoring and bench defense is going to be critical in this series versus the Thunder, because the Thunder have proven that their second unit, their reserves, can still keep the things going. I believe Jared McCain comes off the bench for them.
Yeah.
You got the other Williams guy comes in for them. So they can just give you, Caruso comes in, just wave after wave. Bench production could also be another key to victory or / sway a game, win or a loss here or there. But let's be honest, Dylan Harper, he's been perhaps the Spurs' best 6th man so far this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, man, especially in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, we know Keldon's 6th man of the year, but Dylan Harper coming in this playoffs playing out of his mind, man. You're going to need that because, again, the Thunder, I'm expecting the Thunder to start AJ Mitchell over probably Lou Dort. So you're going to have Dort, maybe Caruso. Don't forget, they even have Isaiah Joe, who can potentially come in and get some points as well. So Dylan Harper is going to have a big task ahead of him. He's going to have to come into the game and play the way he played against Minnesota. Exactly the same way. Be aggressive, be difficult on defense as well. Make it tough for these guards to have any type of momentum. He's got to get to the paint, which I think we forgot to bring it up. OKC is probably one of the best teams to keep guards out of the paint. So they can play a very physical, solid defense, but Dylan Harper's got to get to the basket. He's got to be the most important guy off the bench. He's got to be that leader coming in. We talked about his leadership role. This is where it's going to really be key, is coming into that second unit.
Yeah. It's literally all hands on deck in that second unit. You're going to have that production. It's just huge. And look, Wemby's going to Wemby, and the Thunder are going to try to double him, triple team him, or, let Chet or Hartenstein or Lou Dort, whoever's checking him, try to do their best. Why can't I see the Thunder coaching staff being like, you know what? Shut down Wemby, let everybody else try to beat us? Or is that the bad approach? Because the Spurs do have the horses that can beat a team, even if Wemby's having an off game.
I mean, you have probably the best trio we've ever seen in the NBA at guard.
Absolutely.
So of all time, that would be a bad thing. I think the Thunder are coming into this series with one thing in mind: just play lockdown physical defense, whether it's on Wemby, Fox, whoever. They're going to play the game that got them to 60+ wins this year, number 1 seed. And it's just just physical defense on the defensive side, continue to score on the offensive side. The one thing I will say is that if the Spurs can get the Thunder to keep playing that half-court game where Shea is dribbling the air out of the ball, during the season when we were doing a couple of shows, I remember telling you that the Thunder are more likely to fail when Shea has to dribble a good amount of the shot clock down. You have to make him work. The more you work on the offensive side and the more you attack him on the defensive side, Shea tends to go downhill. He'll still get his 19, 20 points, but it's going to be a very hard earned 19 or 20 points. Spurs got to continue that same thing. Make him work on the defensive side. Get to the basket, pound the rock, get to the basket, make him foul you. On offensively, when he has the ball, play him physical. I know he's going to get fouls called. I know he's going to bait or whatever, but you got to play him to the point where he's dribbling that shot clock down and he's rushing the shot. So they can do that. They did it in the regular season. I fully expect them to do it now. Thunder are beatable. I mean, I've been on record and I've been on a few shows that we've done it with Derek Irvin. I've said, I don't buy the Thunder hype this year, and I'm still not buying it. They haven't played anybody in the playoffs. So, I mean, this is where it comes down to. Hopefully the Spurs make you right, man. I mean, if not, I'm going to have to hide my head in the sand again.
Well, listen, for the Thunder, they're a good team. We could just not say they're not. They are. It's the stats show it. They're undefeated in the postseason. It is what it is. All right. They have the home court advantage. Spurs don't. They were the best team record-wise. Spurs weren't. But nevertheless, this is a heavyweight match. This is pound for pound, the two best teams, obviously, record-wise, in the West going at it. This is a series that everybody wanted. Yeah. But another wrinkle in all this for me is, I think another huge advantage for the Spurs is they have more playmakers than the Thunder. It's really SGA. I guess Jalen Williams, he's back. But that's it. I don't really see that many playmakers. McCain, is he really a playmaker or is he a scorer? I just think that's where the ball could get stagnant when either of those two guys are not on the court, or, Jalen Williams does have a history of getting hurt and if he re-injures himself, then they're really down to just SGA. What do you think about the playmaking side of things?
Well, that's the reason why I brought up make SGA become a playmaker where he dribbles that shot clock. If you get him to dribble the ball for a good 10, 11 seconds of that shot clock, you're doing a good job. And you're right. A lot of these guys, AJ Mitchell, he can create. AJ Mitchell can definitely create off the dribble. He's a really good shooter. He can score the basketball at any time. But then you got guys like Lou Dort, who's really a spot-up shooter. Alex Caruso can create for himself, but again, he's more of a spot-up shooter type as well. Jared McCain, spot-up shooter. I mean, again, the common denominator here is a lot of these guys are spot up shooters, and they're best when SGA gets to the basket off of a pick and roll. You have defenses collapsing. You have a guy open on the perimeter. That's OKC's game. One guy that can create for himself is going to be Chet Holmgren. He could potentially be a little bit of a fit for Wemby, but Wemby has been able to kind of eliminate Holmgren in past games. And again, it's probably because it goes back to when they were kids in high school and stuff. So Holmgren can be a really good playmaker. I wouldn't put it past him to get off the dribble, get a couple of easy buckets. He can shoot the 3-ball, but nonetheless, they've only got, like you mentioned, 2 or 3 guys that are actually playmakers, can create shots, create their own shots. Everybody else, a lot of them are spot up shooters, but it's the crazy part is that they run a fantastic pick and roll game where a lot of these guys are open regardless. So it's almost like you've got to play man, you've got to do the switches, but you don't want to double team a lot of times.
Yeah.
Double team Shea at half court, similar to what they did to Anthony Edwards. We saw him get taken out of the game pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. The Spurs have shown that they can take power players out of the game. Edwards is a perfect example. Rudy just brought that up right now. So, yeah, the Spurs, they've shown they have the ability to step up to play against the big boys, the ability to not say shock the road anymore, but beat them, and nobody would be shocked if the Spurs were to get game 1 tonight. So they have everything going for them. Rudy, you mentioned the momentum. They had a better strength of schedule, more battle tested right now than maybe the Thunder are. But we look at Vegas right now. Vegas has, at least according to this, a close game. Well, they must have updated it then because I have it on DraftKings. They have it at Thunder by 6.5 now.
Oh, okay.
So it got a little closer. At least according to DraftKings, they have it at 6.5. So, man, you taking those odds? 6.5 spread there?
If I'm San Antonio, I'm taking the 6.5 points. Yeah, there's probably no doubt. I did see a spread a little while ago. There was +1. I mean, it was 1 point for the Spurs. So you're gonna probably get different bets here and there. You probably get different odds in the little, throughout the day. But it's really a pick'em series, Jeff. I mean, I know Spurs fans that are picking OKC. I know OKC fans that I've talked to that are picking San Antonio. I mean, this truly is a pick'em series. There's no clear-cut favorite. The only thing that I ask is that both teams stay healthy. That way we get the best of both teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going down the line here. I said mentioned DraftKings. They have a 6.5 favorite for the Thunder. FanDuel, 6.5 favorite for the Thunder. The list goes on and on. MGM, 6.5 favorite. So yeah, I mean they're definitely picking the Thunder to win close to 6 or 7 points there. So it's interesting. I mean, again, that just reflects how close these games are going to probably be. I don't think the Spurs wreck the Thunder as we saw in the Minnesota series, right? I mean, they did. I mean, sure, there in the regular season, there was that one game where Thunder didn't play pretty much anybody. Remember that IR list that came out? It was like everybody who was anybody on the Thunder was out.
And I think the Spurs barely won that game.
See, there you go. Rudy's reminding us that. All right. Well, yes, the Spurs barely won that games, but I don't see. I cannot see the Spurs or the Thunder getting routed in one game. I think all games should be really good.
Yeah, I mean, let me go to the total point. Remember, I told you we're probably not going to see.
Maybe game 1. I think if anything, maybe game 1 would probably be the Thunder's best chance to like just wreck San Antonio. But I don't think that's just my quick thought there. Just because the bright lights and it's on the Thunder. The first time the Spurs are starting a series away from San Antonio, so that could be a little bit of a difference maker there.
I'll give you a prediction. I think 1 and 2 are close. I actually think game 3 is where we may see a blowout. I think that might be, and again, it could go for the Spurs, it could go for OKC, but I think game 3, you might see a blowout in game 3. Vegas is telling you the same thing. Remember, I told you we're not going to see very many 120 to 130 games. I mean, they're only predicting 219 points total.
Wow.
Which is, In the
The low
NBA,
end.
that's
Yeah.
super low. You're talking about
It's in the low end,
109 roughly. So, I mean, two teams that can get on the break and score, averaging around, I think they're both averaging like 104. I think us Thunders are at 110. So, I mean, pretty low total point outcome. If there's going to be a blowout, I think it's going to be game 3 for this series here. Again, could go either way. If the Spurs are down 0-2, I think it's big time trouble in game 3 for them.
Yeah.
But if they can come away with at least one out of these two, then again, I think game 3. I think game 3 is at 1. Game 3 is at 1 where we may see a blowout, I think.
Yeah, hopefully the blowout is on the Spurs end and wrecking OKC. We'll see. But I guess you gave us your prediction already. So you're going with maybe you didn't. Who are you going with tonight then?
I can't call it, man. What if I flip a coin? Is that easier? I mean,
do the Magic 8 ball.
So my gut tells me that OKC wins game 1. They've got plenty of rest. The Spurs are coming off a very difficult series against Minnesota. That's what my gut and my mind tells me, Jeff. But my prediction is I actually have Spurs winning game 1. My heart tells me to take San Antonio. So on the record, I'm going San Antonio 115, OKC 112 as game 1. They come away with a victory. Wemby's got a big chip on his shoulder. When Wemby has a chip on his shoulder, a la the elbow to Naz Reid, the rest of the team tends to play the same way. So OKC comes out really hot, really massively knocking down shots, but I think the Spurs weather the storm. They come back 115, 112, game 1 for me.
I'm thinking Vegas spread. I'm going to go with the Thunder by 6.5, 6-7 points around there. Not to dismiss the Spurs. I think they're going to give Thunder a great fight. Yeah, but there's something about that rest factor that the Thunder have, home court advantage, and that conference finals experience. So we'll see. To me, in the videos that they released, the Spurs and I've post-game wins, post-game game 6 versus Minnesota, where they punched their ticket to the finals, West Finals. They look calm, cool. They didn't look too excited afterwards. They were happy, yes, but they didn't feel like, okay, we really want our NBA title. They feel like there's still more work to do, and there's a lot more work to do.
So let me before I ask you this, because you're taking the Thunder. Let me ask you these two things. Why do people put the Thunder on a pedestal when they only had 2 more wins than San Antonio in the regular season?
I think it was the start of their season where they were just blowing out teams.
But the Spurs had a better finish, so
it's okay. There's that. I think there's also the SGA factor. There's SGA this and SGA that, and
I mean they Anthony Edwards was averaging 28, 29 on the season. So
I'm telling you, man, there's this love affair with the Thunder.
But then this is the other part. So that was your first question. My second question is, do you think OKC is too relaxed and lackadaisia? They are smiling after everything. They feel that there is no team out there that can touch them. And
I mean,
shout out to Eddie Johnson. You've been posting a lot of Eddie Johnson and Justin Termini. Eddie Johnson did mention the fact that OKC is out there smiling, having a good time because they haven't played anybody. Are they going to be smiling if the Spurs come in and steal game 1? They're probably going to be a little pissed. Yeah. But then you go into the fact of we've lost 1 game. We lost 1 game at home. We don't have that win streak no more. That's when doubt starts to enter your mind. That's why game 1 is so important for San Antonio. But again, we hear everybody talk OKC. Like if they're a 70-win team, they had 2 more wins than San Antonio. I mean, what's the impressive part? They started out great.
I think the SGA factor. I think it is just he was on a scoring tear. I get it. I get it. That's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is.
So let SGA go for 40. And you shut everybody else down? I mean,
hey, you know what? That could be
that's perfect.
I'm fine with that on the Spurs side of things. Yeah. SGA, you want 50? Go for it, man. But Chet, Jalen Williams, McCain, Mitchell, you ain't doing anything else. Look, the Spurs kind of implemented that with with the Minnesota team when they were just doubling Ant Edwards and let everybody else try to beat us.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Minnesota and OKC are two different, and they're not as Minnesota is not as deep as the Thunder. So there's that. But no, I mean, look, it's gonna be a heavyweight bout in OKC. I'm excited. Rudy's excited, but we got to hear from you. What do you think about tonight's game one? Taking the Spurs, taking the Thunder, taking the Vegas line, Thunder by 6.5. Let us know your keys to a Spurs win, the strengths for both sides. We gave you ours. I said it was the Slash Brothers. Rudy mentioned how he needs to be watching, or all of us should be watching the turnover battle. So let us know what you think. Let Rudy know on X at the Sports Answer. And let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Rudy, what's going on with the answer? I'm pretty sure you guys are busy.
Yeah, so we're going into the Friday drive this coming Friday. NFL schedule was released, so we're gonna do a little bit of NFL talk. Last show, y'all got to check out the last show by going to Answer Now TV. We did some WNBA talk, which I stumped Derek Gervin on that, and I stumped him on the trio for the San Antonio Spurs. So got a lot of Spurs talk. Obviously, OKC and the Thunder, we're going to get into. I mean, OKC and the Spurs, we're going to get into that talk. Not only that, Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, you got the Knicks and the Cavaliers, two teams. Well, one of them didn't expect them to be there, which was Cleveland. So, yeah, we got a lot of NBA talk. We're going to probably get into some MVP talk on how SGA may be the false prophet MVP this year, because you can't go a whole season and not lead a statistical category,
right?
And say you are the MVP. What did you do? You didn't do anything. I mean, if you want to say, well, he had the most wins, 64 wins. Last time I checked, it's a team sport. So didn't really have, 64 wins because of SGA. So whatever. But that's the Sports Answer. It's a Friday drive. It's myself, Derek Gervin. Sometimes you catch Jeff Garcia on there. Answer Now TV on YouTube.
Yeah, Ray, I didn't tell you this. Remember that discussion we had about trying to figure out the other best three guards in league history?
You did not find one. Trust me, you did not.
I did not know. I didn't find it, but we had a viewer submit their thoughts and their 3 picks.
Okay.
So this is from Ed San Miguel.
Okay.
He says 3-guard lineup, question mark. He goes, how about the Bulls with Jordan, Harper, and Pippen? Not perfect, but the Spurs guards are really small forwards with handles.
I'm gonna just push back and say Pippen was a small forward. Mm-hmm. And I will say that if you're gonna consider Pippen a guard, okay. I mean, I can maybe get behind that if you're gonna consider Pippen a guard, because Pippen was what, 6'7". I mean, Harper's what, 6'6".
Yeah.
Fox is 6'4".
Harper's 6'7". Yeah.
3, I think. So
I think Castle's 6'7". Yeah.
6'7". Okay. So I mean, you know what? Okay, fine. We can go Pippen, Jordan, and Harper. The only thing I can kind of push back on is maybe scoring. Harper wasn't at he was not as high. That's a tough one. You know what? I can't push that back. I'm gonna discuss that with Derek on this show.
Yeah, bring it up.
That's gonna be a good topic. See if we can get that going. But yeah, I love that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I looked it up right now. Castle's 6'6", so not just 1 inch difference. But yeah, I thought that was a good one there. I didn't think about that because I'm used to saying Pippen as a forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what throws me off. But there are the same height. Okay, then not sure if really going to get into different eras, right? Because that was a traditional era of you're a forward, you're a guard, you're a guard.
Positionless basketball now. So yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's another thing. But I love the comparison. I love that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, guy. Appreciate you giving us that thought there before we put a wrap on this episode of Spurs in Focus. But Rudy, again, thank you so much. Again, everybody, just in case you're wondering if there's going to be a live post game show after game one. It's looking likely not. So just keep an eye on that. Guy, myself, and Rudy were kind of busy on Monday, so likely not. But if there's one, hey, surprise, right? If not, we definitely will have a show ready for you to recap Game 1 Spurs Thunder the following day tomorrow. So look forward to that. And we thank y'all for making Spurs in Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. This should be your first spot to go to for all things San Antonio Spurs every day, whenever you need to talk silver and black. Subscribe, YouTube Music, Amazon Podcast, Spotify. The list goes on and on. Spurs in Focus Substack, completely free. Go sign up right now. Just hit subscribe. You're part of the crew. Yeah, cannot wait for tip-off, right? I think we all are. But with that, for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia, and now you're in focus with Spurs in Focus.